can predict a number of Aussie movie marathons in the next couple of weeks. All right, let's bring back to the stage the director of Not Quite Hollywood, Mark Hartley. And of course, our two special guests in the house, Brian Trenchard-Smith. That indeed was a rock-umentary, and when I saw the film, and this is the first time I've seen it totally finished, but I knew it would sound and look great, and it's a total.
We should say this is the first time it's been seen outside of Australia, so it's really interesting to see the reaction to it. Thank you.
So, okay, why did you? Where did you come from to do this? Like, there's such a wealth of material in this. Why did you kind of step up and decide that it was time to make this documentary?
I guess if I didn't, who would? It was that's the real answer in a way. When I was a kid, I saw films like Man from Hong Kong and Patrick and Snapshot, and went to read about them in Australian film history books, and there was no mention of them at all. And if there was, it was a very brief kind of criticism of them. And I got to know the director Richard Franklin when I was a kid. I found out he'd gone to my high school and invited him to come and chat. And also went to research Richard and couldn't find anything on him. So I knew pretty early on that this was kind of a real untold story of Australian film. I subsequently had a music video crew directing clips and worked with a lot of old school crews, and they all worked on these films, and they just had amazing stories. So I knew that there really was a great rollicking ride, and in a way it was up to me. And it was a real honour to be able to be the guy who told these guys' story in a way.
Well, I mean, kudos as well, because it's... kudos as well, because the editing is just so crack on, it's so rapid. You've got so many clips that you've got to pull from and get the right scenes, and it just moves at such a pace.
Yeah, look, the hard thing was culling it down to 100 minutes. It was, and so that's part of the reason it moves so quick. But also, look, it's not a soul-searching study of African yaks. It has to reflect.
Where were the African yaks? I was looking forward to those.
Haven't you made a killer African yak movie somewhere in your...
But I want to.
How many films have you made?
37. Most of which I'm sure you've never seen. He's made 60 as a producer. I've directed 37, produced 9 of them, written 7 of them, and my crimes against cinema continue.
And Tony, this is your second time in Midnight Madness.
Yeah, I was here in 1996 with Screamers, the Christian Guy picture, and I'm glad to see that we're collectively involved in a sequel or reworking of the Philip K. Dick story, which is in post-production right now, which Sony will have out in February or March of next year. So we know Toronto audiences are very, very enthusiastic about Les Films Fantastiques and everything that surrounds horror and other activity. Well, turn off your cell phones.
Brian, is that playing the theme from Leprechaun in Space?
It should be. I'm sorry. It must be Hollywood calling.
Do we have any questions from the audience here? Yes, down in the front.
How did you escape arrest breaking all those laws?
The question is, how did you escape arrest with breaking all the laws for those road movies?
Well, you see, we didn't tell the police, and we didn't tell local councils sometimes, and people first discovered what we had done when the films were premiered a year later. So, interesting anecdote, the car chase in Man from Hong Kong were the Chrysler Valiant Charger, skittles, 7 other cars and drives through a house, bisects a car, and so forth. We promoted a brand new Valiant Charger from Chrysler on the basis they would give us all the other cars to destroy, the Charger would win, and we would return it to them in the condition which they had given it to us. This was, in those days, a $5,000 car. This is 1974. And we did $4,800 worth of damage to it. But we returned it to them, absolutely spotless, brilliantly repainted, and restored in every internal way. And everything was fine until a year later when the film premiered in Sydney. And the man was sitting in the audience, and when Jimmy opens the door and throws the driver into the road and drives off, the man notices his number plate of his new Valiant Charger that he had bought some 9 months before was now careering down the highway, cleaning up motorbikes and other cars, and then ultimately driving through this house and bisecting the car. He was not happy, but ultimately his target was Chrysler. They gave him a new Valiant Charger, but that was, we got away with it. We got away with it because people didn't know any better, and it was kind of gonzo filmmaking, guerrilla filmmaking, and we were sort of learning the rules as we went along. We became, more and more safety conscious as we became more experienced.
I think the other thing is that not only were we making the rules up as we went along, but there were no rules. And because there was no cinema, there was no expectation. There was no situation where you had a film in your neighbourhood a month before or up the street. You'd had local people complaining about this and that or endorsing it, as the case may be. So it was just the right place to be at the right time, and the money came in gradually, the history came in gradually, the mess-ups and the exhilarations came in gradually.
Do we have anyone else here? Yes.